All right, before we get into episode 6 of the Native Overstayers podcast, we just want to highlight another service that Jack and I are offering at the moment, which is called Legacy Moving Images. I'll let Jack tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Legacy Moving Images is a service that allows us to capture people's family history. For Māori and Pacific or any other cultures, it's all about knowing where you're from, knowing your family history, your genealogy, and why our parents came over and basically settled in a place like New Zealand. If that sounds like something that you'd be interested in capturing and then passing on to the next generation in your family, we can help with that. And I guess that's what we're going to check out now. So
That's right. The premiere of Legacy Moving Images. Enjoy.
It may be too late for our parents or grandparents to have an opportunity like this, but wish you guys all the best for this. Very, very good. You come up with something that can only the Samoan, to understand hard life. I wish can go to a lot of Samoan like Sevi, old people, and take this and for their children. If they love their family, if they don't love their family, they don't have to do it, because there's no point. But if they do love their family, their children and grandchildren and so forth, do it.
It's really cool to be able to sort of dive back into history and learn from both of them, how they grew up in the islands, some of the stories and the people they connected with. It was just such a wonderful moment to be able to sort of capture in time, not just for us, but for our kids and their kids, so seeing where the original, from our perspective, where we're founded, our parents and, my kids' grandparents and so on.
All right, welcome to episode 6. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Setoga. Thank you, sir, for coming along to our humble little podcast. Just give you a little bit of background between myself and Siliga. Siliga's dad married me and my wife over 21 years ago now. So Siliga's been part of our lives for a long time and has played an influential part in our lives. We really respected his dad. He was the whiwhiao of Whakasā Westmead for many years, a well-respected man in the Samoan community. Another time that Siliga has influenced our lives was in the final of 2016, the schoolboy final at Mags. I was the photographer on that day and I was down on the field, and one thing that always stuck in my head is looking up into the stands and seeing this proud Mags boy there with his signs that we still proudly display in our house, not far from where we're doing this podcast. So you mean a lot to our family, and I really appreciate you coming along. Thank you so much. I'm just going to pass it over to Jay. He's got
whafta e malewa no, na awhionga, ali o le hainga, whapea fwoi lo sunga, te wha ese, ma lo le soifua ma langi ma lo le whalau, ma lo le usu.
Ja, maar ook zo voor, ja, los sunga, ja, sunga ja pet, ja, en voor sunga siaki, je pa je ravale wa ke o makuya, ja, papia sa fuyange, ja, malu ya ke oi sa faka, ja, ik kan voor de pa je malu fa funga anga, ole ako podcast, ja, maar ook zo voor. Thank you for the welcome voice.
You're welcome, brother. You're welcome. I guess I've been doing these influential Pacific interviews over the last since the start of this year actually. But you were one of the people I really wanted to catch up with in regards to your entrepreneurship, and I'm wearing one of Siliga's t-shirts, which have always been one of my favourite brand, Popo Hardware, to to buy and purchase and wear with pride. Give us a little bit of background, brother, in regards to the entrepreneur path that you took in regards to your t-shirts, and how long have you been doing it, and are you still doing it?
So straight after Megs in '94, didn't, the only thing I was pretty much good at was art. It was something that I really enjoyed, I loved. But even though I enjoyed it, I slacked off at school, didn't get the grades. But I still wanted to pursue that side of me, and so I went to art school, and I was following art school after doing my degree. I really wanted to get into something that one sort of I could be able to contribute to the household income, but also something that I love doing and expressing. And the perfect way was t-shirts. So I started selling t-shirts at the Otara flea market, and just ran everything on the budget, and my wife Luisa helped me set it up and build.
Yeah.
And so it's still still operating at this time, and so now we've got the kids sort of on the production line now, and but yeah, that's still that's our bread maker. So we do a lot of our stuff. We do take the piss a bit in our commentary about sort of big labels and that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's our way to sort of kick back on the system.
Sure.
But yeah, no, that was huge. That range of Max t-shirts were massive.
Yeah, yeah. One of my favourite t-shirts was the I Guy. I wore that one for like 10 years, mate. That was my favourite t-shirt, and it had the Samoan meaning just underneath. So my Balangi friends would come and say, "Oh, I Guy, I Guy," and then they'd read it and they'd go like, "Oh, I Guy." So your humour would always come out in your creativity, which was pretty cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think for me, humour's always been that way to break down barriers and sort of ease the tension.
Yeah.
And then once you've got that buy-in, then you can hammer home the message.
Yeah.
And it's I'm not the first one to do it. I surely won't be the last. But I mean, it's just the way we are as people, as Polynesians. We like to sit in a space that's easy, so and it's comfortable, and we, if we can, we avoid that tension. But when that tension's in that space, then we always shy away from it. So it's quite interesting that like with the work that I do, I try and attract that tension, because it's that tension is where that space that we can truly hone in a message, or
Be comfortable and being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also it's also being able to breathe in that uncomfortable space. I mean, I think a lot of our kids tend to sort of shy away from those spaces where they're whakamā, they'll sort of rather sit back into a crowd rather than take something on, which is a different story when on the juice and someone says something to one of your boys, then then it's all on. But it's a shame that we don't have that mentality when it comes to writing an essay, or just putting that extra hour in of study. It's just like when stuff is too hard that we don't understand, we just leave it. But I think raising the kids and seeing them go through those patterns, I'm always reminded of how I was in that space. So I was like, okay, when I was in that space too, I was so it's easy for me to say to them, hey man, you got to take on all those assignments and meet that front on, when I know and then when I was in that zone, I was like, couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, yeah.
But we learn and we live, and
I mean, I guess so you did a Masters of Fine Arts, is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
right? So what was your experience like at university? I mean,
art school was different because you're in a space with like-minded people. Everybody in that, I went to quite a small art school, Wycliffe College, which there was only like 180 students in the whole school.
oh,
So you had like maybe 50 year ones and then 30 year twos, and as you go through the years, there'll be a lot of people that find that it's not their buzz,
Sure.
and then
Yeah.
and then in the last year might only be 8 of you. But in that space, it was man, that was the first time I've ever written an essay.
Okay.
It was because we presume that art's all about drawing and painting and performance, that there's no writing. I've never written, I've never read so much in my life, because it's like it's that idea that it's cool that you can express yourself in this way and through your images and your your play on objects in it. Now you have to write about it.
Yeah, sure.
So it was just like trying to articulate what exactly influenced me to make this work, what it is that I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And then you're also trying to think about how would it be read by an audience,
Absolutely, yeah.
and then who is your audience,
Yeah.
because it's just like you're trying to make work that's understood,
Yes.
but not necessarily people don't have to appreciate it, and so it's if you've got a lot of things on your plate making work, it's how will it be read, who do you want it to be read by,
Yeah.
and I think going through art school as a Polynesian, we do get boxed, it's like, oh yeah, and you're making work for Pacific Islanders,
Yeah.
but it's not, a lot of my work was it dealt with a lot of PI themes, but also universal themes,
Yeah.
of control and of being stood over, things like that, and just trying to push the little guy to fight back. So there's universal themes running through the work, but it was always, a lot of times it's always read like, oh, I don't understand it because I'm not Samoan. A lot of readers would come in and not take it any further than that.
Sure.
And I suppose that's the space between us as, or the biggest question of whether we're artists,
Yes.
or are we Pacific artists. So it's there's a massive sort of debate in our Pasifika arts family about do we only make art for our people, or is it universal?
Is that more like you feel you have responsibility to make art specifically for Pacific Island people, or how does that sort of tie into your creative process?
Yeah, I think as an artist, you just want to express yourself, and some of what we want to express is not for our it's not for our people. It's just universal. It's just like because I mean, as an artist, what I try and do is at least plant that seed, so that person walks away with the idea that of questioning what's going on, what's happening here, and it's just I suppose the goal is to have people take away that idea of questioning their environment, where they're at, what's happening, and it's I think that's my biggest challenge, because we do in our Polynesian settings, we do tend to sort of conform and obey the rules and play the game, but I mean, as an artist, you're trying to sort of fight away from it.
Yeah, be on the fringe.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself also as an activist?
Yes, that's. I mean, for me, it's activism is a huge part of of why I make the things I make.
Yeah.
It's it's that space of fighting back.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll have to say that I wasn't aware of what was going on in West Papua until I was reading your post on your Facebook page. I didn't even know there was a West Papua, and I didn't realise that the Indonesians were there. Is it a genocide or?
Yeah. So I mean, the Indonesian government, I think they rallied up about 1,000 West Papuans. Pretty much made them vote that that those 1,000 West Papuans represent the whole of West Papua, and that they still want to remain under Indonesian rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, the puppets in that game, bro, it's all the major players in the world, because I mean, all the mines that are running through that are
resources.
the natural resources that are in that space. Man, I wonder if Samoa had gold, had oil reserves, had then it looked probably would be in that same predicament.
Really?
But I mean, it's they're wiping out the indigenous people like nothing. Eh?
They're wiping them out.
Yeah.
So they're genocide.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's just and the thing is they don't allow international media into that space.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep having cousins from Aussie say, "Hey, we're gonna go to Bali and hang out there and come up," and nah, man.
So you went to Bali because of your.
Yeah. And it's just like, for me, it's just like, it hurts because it's like they're our people, just because they're a different, culture and that, it's still they're people of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
That's where we are connected by the ocean. That's they're our people.
I was just reading this article that was it one of the ones online, and an interesting thing it has here. So it also allows Siliga the luxury of questioning cultural structures, particularly issues surrounding the church. Now, you were talking about at the start of our conversation how we don't like being uncomfortable. Do you think that's because of the structures of the church?
I mean, to me, one thing that I don't know, with humility has always been ingrained into our people before the missionaries arrived, or after, and that humility is a strong thread that runs through all our people and our kids.
Yeah.
But I also find that that humility also takes away that voice of expression.
Detrimental.
Yeah, and it can be detrimental to growth.
Yeah.
The other thing is that we, what I remember as kids, is that be humble in the back of my mind all the time. It just became who I was. So it meant that you don't stand out. You just hang back. You don't and it sort of flowed through school. And I think I think we need to teach our kids to know when to be humble and when to hustle hard.
Yeah.
There's a time and place that our humility will shine.
Yeah.
But then when it's about feeding your family and paying the bills, you gotta we walk into an interview and we'll take minimum, because it's like, yeah, thank you sir, I'll take what you want and what you've got to offer. The next guy will turn up and say, I'm not doing this job anything less than 70k, and that's where we don't. We have that sense of humility and being grateful for whatever we have, because it's God's blessings. But at the end of the day, we still got to pay our bills, and and feed our family and our kids.
Mm.
So humility for me, it's always been that a tool that in a way sometimes holds us back.
Yeah.
One thing that is sort of runs through our Pacifica culture is the use of shame.
The use of
shame,
yeah.
and that there was I had a performance piece in my last year where I sat in the corner facing the wall.
Yeah.
And the only objects in the room was in this open white wall space, exhibition wall, was just me sitting in the corner and an old 70s couch. And so, you know, you just allow people to come in, and I sat in that corner for the duration of the exhibition, which was about 4 hours.
Wow.
But just talking to people afterwards, that uncomfortable feeling of walking into a space and seeing that.
Yeah.
And it's also that 70s couch for me was iconic because it's like it was sort of the time period that our olds came into New Zealand.
Yes.
Also the expectation of put upon them that if they didn't perform, that sense of shame back home. So, you know, having that couch and being sent to the corner and sitting in the corner, for me was that play in between our olds and how we perform. That we grow up with a strong sense of, you know, do not do anything that brings shame to our name.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and that's driven into our kids.
Yeah.
You know, you're carrying our family name, you're carrying our village, you're carrying our district. You know, don't mess it up.
Yeah.
But it's also the same tool that keeps us in line.
Yeah.
Hey, because it makes you contribute, because if it's like, oh, so and so didn't put it, you know,
Yeah.
and it's that ostracization that for a lot of our people sort of also keeps them down, because we're not honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we can't say, you know, we don't have the courage to say when we don't have it. You know, you know,
We can't afford it.
we can't afford it.
Yeah.
You
We
know?
can't do it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Of what's been installed. In
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Wow.
And so shame was a big part of a lot of what I was looking at.
Yeah.
So my master's year was based around performance.
Yeah.
I went into that master's year with a graphic design practice and came out as a performance artist.
Wow.
And I was like, because I mean it's sort of, they do it so that you challenge your practice
Yeah.
and your understanding. I've always been interested in how we portray ourselves, and so graphic design for me was the way, because it's like whether you see a corporate identity, you know, Coca-Cola, Nike, what are the messages behind those brands? All of them have stories, backstories. We know Nike is the goddess of victory, and those ideas of, you know, and how one tick, you know, has all these words associated with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all those symbols. I was really interested in that, and I really wanted to pick up on that, because there was no difference between corporate identity and cultural identity.
Yeah.
You know, the way you carry yourself and your name as a person. It you know, people knew, oh, whose son is that, and word gets around, and
It's almost
and
like
then,
a personal brand.
yeah,
Or a family brand,
yeah,
or district
exactly.
brand, or how
Because
you want to
family brand, eh? Because
Family
people go,
brand, yeah.
oh, what's you know, what village they from? Who's that? Oh, it's so and so's son.
Yeah.
And then they, you know, everything says, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that's what I find interesting about our what do you call it? Our titles.
Yeah.
You know, because then, you know, the titles that we carry have got history and stories, and you know, might not have a connection to, you know, a war that was that this title was a part of in the 1700s, but you carry that.
Yeah,
It's like, oh no, you're the man, because you conquered, so and so, and it's like, okay, I wasn't born there, but yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this whole Garrett Tremaine cartoon and Otago Daily Times sort of putting out a cartoon like that?
What a dick. Like, it's not what a sad guy, hey? It's like, I think the role of a cartoon is, I mean, there's a role that they have in society. That's that's cool. You take the piss and you challenge, But I perceive a cartoonist as someone who punches up for the little guy.
Sure.
We taking on the establishment. You're doing that, but you don't step on people that are downtrodden. And I mean that for me that's what was sad about it.
And people dying, right? Babies dying. That's crazy.
And I just thought it was heartless. I thought that was quite sad.
Yeah.
And it's just there's no place for that here, man. It's like, come on.
I think it's a reflection of how desperate the print media are getting in regards to that. They'll go to those levels
to get hits.
To get hits, to get
tabloid
conversation.
They just went wild, eh?
Tabloid news almost.
Man, you just go on you look at your feed, and it was like, so you're still scrolling, and everyone's going,
Everyone's giving their opinion. And,
the old saying that any exposure is good exposure.
Right.
But that's freedom of speech, and then there's just silliness, really, and I think that comes under the silliness. And I'm
silly.
thinking, because it wouldn't have just been the guy that made the cartoon, right? It also has to go through an editor, and then
process just to get it through.
just to get it in print.
He came out and apologised, right?
No, he won't apologise.
No. I think the editor of the Otago Daily Times, I've forgotten his name, something Stewart.
Yeah.
He came out and basically gave a public apology. I believe it was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I heard the audio, and originally Garrett Tremaine wasn't going to apologise. He said, I ain't going to apologise. But then on his website, he posted, I apologise if I've offended anyone. So, I guess at least they've done that. And they've made that apology and sort of tried to address their wrongs, which is a good thing. Considering it took, until 2002 for the Helen Clark government to apologise about what happened in Samoa over a century ago.
But in saying that, how many New Zealand governments have apologised for what happened in Waitara, Parihaka,
That's even worse.
So to me, I feel bad as Samoa. We got an apology before Tangata Whenua, So it's just that's piss poor,
Yeah.
That's true.
And that was leading up to election year.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
For Helen Clark.
Yeah.
And the
And the state.
Well, it is election.
wow.
Illuminati.
Rabbit hole.
Confirmed.
You were wrong. Didn't we say that before?
What about the measles outbreak? What's your take on it? I mean, we covered it a little bit last week, didn't we, Jay?
Yeah.
But it's turning into an absolutely
It's a mess.
horrible mess.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, it's up to 60 people now.
Yeah.
62 last count. This is the. Sorry, did you want?
No, just say it.
Yeah.
Just. We take for granted that we can pop down to Plunkett and and then get our shots done for our kids.
And from what I understand, that's the difference. Is the medical? It's the same measles strand that we had here.
Yeah.
But it's just the aftercare that they can't handle in Samoa. I think you mentioned that last week too, Jay. That you don't want to get sick in Samoa.
No, you don't. But I guess the other thing to highlight, we didn't quite get into this last episode, was also the effect that the two babies that died in Savaii last year, and now those two nurses that are serving the jail time after they botched the vaccine, and basically those two babies died. I think I was listening to a story, and those families are basically now suing. Or, seeking damages. Because one of the ladies in the family, she has like a stroke and she can't work, but you can't ever have an amount of money replace a child. They're going up against, sort of Samoa and then the Ministry of Health and all that sort of stuff. I think it's about 60, 62, and I think about now, while we're doing this podcast, it's the end of the first day of the door-to-door vaccination mobilisation, and they've got people coming from all over the world to basically help with that mobilisation. And I was just saying before that it kind of parallels like the Passover and the story of Moses, right? How the Jews had to basically put blood over their door
Yeah.
to basically tell the Holy Spirit to keep moving from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And now in Samoa,
Red.
we're having to put a red,
Yeah.
cloth to say, oh, there's an infection here, please come and help us.
Yes, yes, yes.
So it's, that sort of symbolism is quite interesting, but again, a real tough time for Samoa. And then obviously people, reacting. I mean, I saw the protest that went on for Mr. Stewart, the editor of the Otago Daily Times, and these were Samoans. They were rolled up. Sometimes we're comfortable, like you said, and we withhold, but these people will let them have it. You can hear them. I was like, oh, geez, that guy better get out of the way, otherwise he's going to get fussy pretty soon.
Yeah.
So, but it's a pretty crazy time, and but I guess it has sort of highlighted, like we talked about before, anti-vaccines and all that sort of stuff, and sort of a lot of the underlying stuff that's happening in the world today.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Interesting times. Interesting times. Another topic, Jay, tattoos in the workplace. I see Linga's got some. Some explanation on the
Right,
ones on
tell
your
us
hands.
about your end, bro. What's a,
So it's based off the hand tattoo, Samoan hand tattoo. And for me, it's still looking at that diamond shaped malu. So it's I've got that malu on my hand, and it's that idea of protection.
Yeah.
And the woman's role
yes.
is about protecting the ainga. And so there's what 5 different stars, so it sort of represents the woman in my life, my mum, my wife, my sister, and 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And it's on the back of my hand, so I never forget it.
Oh,
So it's
cool.
it's that idea. But I mean, it's I think growing up outside of Samoa and having to learn values that slowly ingrained in parent speech and that weren't really sat down and looking at things like at the VAR and relationships.
Space.
And I thought it was interesting because growing up, most of it was very rare to have 2 TVs in a household, So, there was only one TV. It took up a special space in the sitting room, on the other corner, shrine to Jesus. And but the TV was very prominent.
Very focal.
But then, I remember you'd watch, you're watching something, and then a kissing scene comes on,
Oh, yeah.
and then the boys leave the room,
Yeah.
So no one sat me down and said, when a kissing scene comes on, we all have to walk out. You just sort of took your cue and, who wants a cup of tea? And it's just and it is uncomfortable, especially if you're watching it as a family.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I didn't understand it until later on in life.
Yeah.
That they didn't have sex scenes like they have now.
Sure.
When you watch TV now, it's like, bro, it's only 7 o'clock, man. It's But it was just just indicated, like a little pick on the cheek, and you sort of know where the program's going, and but that idea that you don't view those things in the same room as your sister,
Yeah.
It's that
it's that relationship, and then you sort of follow the lead of your cousins, like, okay, we're in the kitchen, wait till it's finished, and then you walk back in again. And, but it's learning things by proxy, and it's not being, it's not a classroom lesson of what you should and shouldn't do. It's just you take your cues from older cousins, uncles, and that, what should be done, what shouldn't be done.
There's norms.
But I think looking at that, the idea of the VAR too, it's sometimes it's that also can be used as a tool to close down arguments, and so no one ever speaks up. And that's quite evident when we look at things like sexual abuse that happens within in a space, that it's if it's an elder of the family, it's like, nah, brush it under the carpet.
Hushed up,
Let's not talk about it. And the youngies are like, oh, we need to take this further, and then they get shut down. Like, nah, no one's gonna say anything.
Yeah.
Close it up.
Yeah.
And I think that's I hope in our lifetime that changes. I mean, it's starting to change as we're more aware of, you know, our kids' safety.
Yeah.
But I mean, man, I suppose for generations that those things have happened. The like we were talking about mental health, it's affected a lot of our you know, our aunties and that.
Yeah.
And it sort of still runs through the family. So I think it's something we need to have the courage to talk about.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's influenced though by Christianity as well, right? This idea of forgiveness, regardless of what the sin or the offence is, especially in regards to sexual abuse. And when you think about it in regards to Samoan families, it's rife. But then again, because we're heavily Christian, a lot of that does get put under that forgiveness, and then people sort of move on. Not everyone moves on the same way though. You know, it's very different. So for different, whether you're the victim or the perpetrator or whatever it is, but being able to talk about it definitely is a step in the right direction. At least that way, right?
And it's interesting how the mana of the family is always protected.
Yeah.
You know, that's
That
like,
brand, bro. That
that has,
family
yeah,
brand.
that brand.
Yeah.
Can't let any of this out, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So another subject, speaking of tattoos, and is the pea. I think
Marked for service.
to likely lads like yourself who serve our community, are good people, because I believe that pea should be worn by people that are leaders, that are doing stuff for their village, for their people. I don't know if you guys think the same sort of thing, but I think it's a mark of honour from hundreds, thousands of years ago. So I just want to get your views on it. If I was to see on people, I would always think that this person is somebody of some sort of a matai or some sort of leader in a community. What are your views on that, Jake?
I guess when it comes to the pea, it's about being, like I said, marked for service. And if you're willing to sort of undergo that and then serve in whatever way is appropriate for your ainga or your wo, then, you know, that's why you get it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's changed a little bit in more recent times, where certain people aren't getting it so much for that reason, for that tautua, that service. It's more aesthetic reasons.
Yeah.
Same thing with the sleeves and the koldemas and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I was actually having a conversation with my dad just this past weekend about this, and I was like, yeah, I asked him, what would you think about me getting a pea, you know, so I could serve our family, serve our village. He goes, oh, Leviticus says you shouldn't, you know, mark your bodies. And I was like, oh, okay, but yeah, I'm still going to consider it. We'll agree to disagree. And all, you know, arguing with your Samoan parents is a bit like in one ear out the other.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those cultural markers that we can sort of we adopt and take on. And again, depending on how your rationale, your reason for it, sort of determines whether you get it or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, also your sort of take on it yourself. What do you think?
Man, I'll just I'm in awe, eh? Every time I see
It's beautiful.
anyone with blue knees, man, I'm like, oh. So, you know, I will feel that way until my knees are blue.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's a huge part, and it's a huge, you know, in a way, it's also our fight back to the missionaries too, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's you know that's I mean there's always been a huge debate in our Samoan churches whether you get excommunicated if you once you get tapped. They used to excommunicate you for 3 months, stand-down period.
Stand-down period.
Yeah.
Really?
So which means you can't take communion.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after that, then you can go back to full service.
What's
But they won't allow you if you're if you're finished marua or whaiwhiao.
Really? What was your dad's views on it? Was he?
Oh, I mean,
Would he have allowed you to get one?
So we had this discussion. Me and him went to see Polo, Polo Suape, before he passed away. And he was just like, I remember talking to him in the car and asking him his opinion. He said, just finish it. If you want to do it, just finish it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the key.
That's the key. Is like it's you.
Start,
it's
finish.
yeah. It's doesn't matter to him. It wasn't about whether he wanted me to know that he wanted me to do it. That was never part of the thing. He just said, if you want it, you know, make sure you finish it. And he was always concerned about my health. So he would say, you know, you're gonna go through that process, but he just left it up to me. So I'm happy I got that blessing. You know, for me, it's I understand it's very spiritual too. You know, it's taking your mind, your body, your spirit into a space. And the people that I've talked to, it's like they're like any pain that they've felt afterwards doesn't compare to, you know, going under the au. But it's slowly getting to the point, you know, like I remember, you know, through life in my late teens, I was like, oh yeah, it would be nice. And then as you get older, it's like, man, I really want it. And then you get, you know, you just spiritually for me, it's like I need it now, you know. So I just needed to get into a space where my spirit was in line with, you know. And there's a lot of A2 involved in the process, so I understand that there's, you know, acknowledging those spirits, and I was and understanding the care of it all the way through. I mean, right down to discarding all your flannels, making sure that they're all buried. Otherwise, you know.
Oh, really?
Don't leave the door open.
Sure. And who you'll get guard with as well, right?
That's
important.
Another topic here was the legalisation, is it, of marijuana? Jay, you want to...
There's a bit of a draft bill that they've sort of brought out to sort of address that. And there's actually a website, and I think we'll put this in the description. It's called referendum.gov.nz, and it's basically a whole information site that talks about this particular bill, and also the end-of-life bill, which is another big one, right? And I guess the reason why I thought that would be interesting, because again, the way that we make informed decisions or form our opinions is based on the information that we have. And I guess when you have resources like that to then go ahead and make those decisions, then you can make more informed decisions. But I mean, it's an interesting one, because it's in terms of the legalization of cannabis, it's based on sort of what's happening overseas. From what I understand, sort of 14 grams per day is what you can sell, or I think buy, and that's sort of half what's sort of what happens in Canada and sort of the US. So even though people are like, well, that seems like a lot, you know, it's like 20 to 40 joints. It's actually, in comparison to what's already out there in the other parts of the world, sort of less. But I guess depending on what people's views are, I mean, what do we think, boys? Is it something sort of, is it good to have information that we can then make decisions on, or what do you reckon?
To me, I'm open. You know, I think I'll take yes. You know, let it fly. And it's there's a lot of scaremongering out there, and but all I got to say is, probably, you know, more fights happen in a bar from alcohol than that. You know,
That's
it comes from. So I mean, you know, we on one side we allow alcohol to reign free, and the harm that comes from alcohol is like supersedes, you know. I mean, there are some you know, cases of psychosis in that, but you know, you're always going to get like those extremes, and it all comes out in times like this. But I mean, as a health supplement, I'm all for it.
CBD, I guess medicinal marijuana, CBD oil, right? That's just very popular. Minus the THC will get you high, the psychoactive ingredients. But I see what you mean.
I think, like you, Linga, when I used to go with my boys into the city, a Saturday night after playing footy or whatever, the boys that were, you know, smoking the weed, having the ganja, no trouble. They just get hungry and just want to have a good time. The boys that are drinking back the black spirits, and it's called black spirits for a reason. All right, that's all on there. Let's go find somebody to fight, you know.
And then, just because you know, we do legalise it, it doesn't mean that every you know, kid in the street's going to be smoking. It's like
Exactly.
anything else, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There'll be those who are drawn to it, others will be like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's not my buzz.
Yeah. They say it's a gateway drug, but people that are going to get onto the meth are going to get on there anyway.
They're
gonna
They're
find
going to find a way to get there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we'll tie it up here, guys.
Yeah.
Again, Linga, thank you so much for coming in, bro. We'd love to have you in again to go into a little bit more depth on some subjects, especially after you get your ink done. I think there'll be a good conversation, because then by then Jack should also have his. But we really appreciate you coming in also. Like I say, you're an inspiration to me with what you do with your art. I know your children, they're becoming amazing athletes, and you know, you and Louisa are bringing up some beautiful Samoan humans there, so you know, respect to you for that as well, brother. And like I say, your dad meant a lot to me, will always mean a lot to me, because of he, you know, married myself and my wife, so you guys will always have a special place in our hearts also, and you're always welcome around here, brother. But anything to close us off?
I guess just sort of finishes off our first season of podcasts, and again, thank you also so much for coming in and sort of helping us finish off with a little bit of a bang.
Yeah.
We're coming into that holiday season, so I think you're off to the States, you're lucky fella. So you won't see us for a bit, but when we do come back in the new year, you know, we'll be back with more guests, sharing more experiences, keep that feedback coming in, and again, if stuff that we've talked about, uncomfortable stuff, fun stuff, you know, if it resonates with you, please share the podcast, listen to it on different platforms. Be safe over these holidays. Shout out just quickly to all the drivers out there that take a breath when they're stuck in long queues, that don't get into a bit of road rage, that don't drink and drive, that don't drug and drive, and that keep themselves rested, because unfortunately we know people are going to pass away on the roads this time of the year, and it's even more tragic when it happens. But just look after each other so we can always see each other in 2020.
Yeah. Hey, and just before we close, just want to thank you guys for allowing me into your space. Thank you to everyone out there allowing me into your devices. And just want to apologise, I don't have any money to repay your compliments, brother. But the respect is mutual, man.
Yeah.
You know, I look up to you as an older brother, and you know, so thank you for all your work, and you know, and it's nice to meet you too, brother.
What about your websites also? You got any websites?
PopoHardware.com.
PopoHardware.com.
Yeah.
Go and have a look, man. They're the best t-shirts you can get out there. I love them, and I stand by them always. So anything else you want to say also?
Nah, just stay safe, and blessed Christmas, Happy New Year, and know when to be humble, know when to hustle.
Awesome. And your head is big, just physically, brother, not in an arrogant way. But as I always sign off, all love, no hate. Whalaia.
So what?
Peace.